Hey everybody, Evil here. Yesterday, Amazon took the stage at the Summer Games Fest to announce the arrival of New World on both PlayStation 5 and Xbox. We all expected that, but I know we expected a little bit more, and the PC community is a little frustrated, but there is a little bit more if you decipher their hints, their clues that followed in the half-hour development video. They weren't really hidden hints, but they're definitely not as straightforward as I think many of us would have appreciated them to be. So here's a quick TLDR on Summer Games Fest and the lengthy development video that followed after that. First to mention would be the raid you can now see on screen here. The 10-person raid will have 3 bosses. They should be varying in difficulty and should be one of the main places, I believe, to get our new gear score cap of 725 gear. With the other location seemingly being the new Lawless Zone or PvP area that we've all heard so much about lately. In the Lawless Zone, you'll be able to acquire mystical doubloons, PvP currency that will allow you to buy, quote, the best gear in the game. We got to assume this is going to be more 725 gear score gear. More endgame activities are being introduced in the form of repeatable soul trials as solo endgame activities. Being an endgame activity, I would think, hope, and assume there would be mutations to come for these eventually too. That could be interesting. The same way I've hoped and still hope we get mutations for the sandworm trial / raid, as that would definitely make the content a little more viable. Teased was also the new bear mount you seen on screen there just a moment ago. PvP matchmaking was also confirmed to be coming to the game in the form of arenas at first, assumably as a trial before moving on to other game modes. Game modes that I do feel it might be important to mention will be fully crossplay, as well as the open world full crossplay all the time, meaning all consoles, PlayStation, Xbox, PC can play with one another. Any content, anytime. Something coming to the game I feel like made a few people maybe a little uneasy or they were confused about. Starting the game with Archetypes is something new. It's going to give you a couple weapons to start the game and a couple trade skills, a little bit of a boost to kind of just get the ball rolling a little bit. This does not class lock you in any way long term. I'm assuming it'll actually have little to no effect on your character unless maybe you're trying to RP. Those archetypes starting with the soldier, who appears to have sword and shield and a hatchet, followed by the sword bearer, boasting a greatsword and a blunderbuss in the back, followed by the archer, bow and spear, next being the musketeer, the rapier, and of course a musket, the occultist with the classic fire staff and ice gauntlet, gotta love it. Which finally brings us to the Mystic, Void Gauntlet, and Life Staff. Now again, guys, you got to remember that these archetypes do not set your role for the game, but simply give you a direction when you start the game. Lastly, but for some even most importantly, is swimming has been confirmed to be coming to the game, meaning the long-lasting community Hippo joke is probably not so much of a joke anymore, regardless if it'll come to the game as a mob or as a mount. We'll have to wait and see. A mount that you can get that I think a couple people were confused about, or at least a mount skin we have here, the Azoth Stalker Wolf mount. As long as you have the base game as well as the Rise of the Angry Earth expansion, it will be free to claim between set dates on screen. Most importantly, I feel like it's important to sum up New World rebranded into New World Aeternum as an ARPG rather than MMO is the same game. There is no offline mode. There is no single player. We will be playing the same game marketed towards possibly different people, but at least in a different way. Shards were definitely not introduced to the game for nothing, and I think this is the optimal use and prime example of that. To keep up with everything evil, consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.